Is it possible to use a storage disk, such as a USB drive, as RAM? My motherboard, HP Pavilion S3000Y, only supports 2 GB of RAM max, which means that I can only allocate 1 GB for running VMS, and applications that use a lot of RAM are slow, such as games and Visual Studio. Is it possible to use a storage disk such as a USB drive as RAM? Or if not, can VirtualBox use a drive as RAM for VMS?
Windows Vista and 7 support Ready Boost, which will use a fast USB drive as a cache for superfetch. This allows SF to work better on systems with limited RAM. This can help increase responsiveness of file I/O operations because the flash drive is much faster at 4K random reads/writes than the HDD. Better yet, get a SSD drive. A page file on an SSD is really fast and will improving paging operation speeds fairly significantly, but is in no way a replacement for more RAM. BTW, have you attempted to install larger RAM than the motherboard suggests that it can use? It's possible that if you upgrade to the latest BIOS revision that you might be able to use larger chips, such as 2x2 GB or 4x1 GB, not sure how many RAM slots you have. It shouldn't hurt to at least try a larger chip if you have one available. Also, you should reduce the RAM allocation to your virtual machine to as little as is needed to run the VM. An XP guest can run in as little as 256 MB or 384 MB of RAM depending on what you're using it for.
The reason that applications that use a lot of memory make the system slow is because that forces the system to use storage devices. What you are asking to do is what the system is already doing and the reason you are not happy. Unfortunately, the only solutions are to change your workload so it requires less memory or to add more memory.
Even if you were to do this, it would not be recommended. USB drives/hard drives are extremely slow. Think about your USB drive. It will transfer at a max of 60 MB/s. The RAM in your computer based on your other question will run anywhere from 4200 MB/s to 5333 MB/s. That is why when your computer is low on memory that it will use your page file to allocate memory as virtual memory. Your hard drive light will go crazy and your computer will slow down greatly. It ran out of physical memory and in efforts to not crash, it will use your hard drive as virtual memory. Just think of how slow the computer is at that point and just think how horrible your VM will run if it is always using this RAM disk, see below, or virtual memory.
Yes, the name is virtual memory or swapping. It has been in regular use on personal computers for a very long time, first found in the 1960s, and ever since 1990s all mainstream OCs have them and turned them on by default. You might be able to improve performance marginally by tweaking the size of virtual memory, out of Vista, although it probably wouldn't improve performance by much. In general, a virtual memory only improves performance in situations where your computer will not be able to handle the memory load otherwise, for example in situation where your system starts to go awry because they get killed by the OS.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.